1309 Secret Grove store. Buy a lot of shit from him. He's got a lot of cool shit. Um, I'm in Canada, so it's pretty pricey, but I have actually bought something recently. But anyways, and Mind and Magic Mystery School, Frater Xavier, also huge. This is the witchcraft. These two guys are in the witchcraft and the ceremonial magic. Um, that's not my only resources that I have that I'm giving to you, or where I'm getting all the information, but a lot of it does come from them. Where the books, say you're doing your book learning, you're learning a craft or whatever, and you got questions and shit like that. Well, we're in the age of information where you just Google something, YouTube something, whatever. But these guys basically hit any questions that I had, and even the ones I didn't have that helped out later on as well. So that's why I recommend them. It's not just to watch them and learn from them. I mean, it is, but when you start reading the books or getting into the craft where you don't know what to do next, or you're doing something you think is right and it's really wrong, these guys are going to correct that for you. You're going to get into that. Birch is really good at pointing out things that people have forgotten. I mean, if you're just all new age up to this point, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're getting what you need, keep doing it. The point is, though, there are certain things that I manifested when I was just in new age before I got into witchcraft and ceremonial magic. But they didn't always turn out that well. So yeah, that's another reason for the absence, to get people to catch up, who maybe hadn't checked out any of these things, to give them time to do so. Watch these guys and learn from them. I mean, these two people with a bunch of books I read, like a Balian to the great work by Liam Thomas Christopher. I learned a wealth of information, and learning from me is kind of like a fourth or fifth party at this point, whereas they're a lot more close to the source, and you can get a hell of a lot more from them. And I'm not saying to not watch more shit, a different perspective from someone who's doing it now. A father of four who manifests his mortgage and car payments and gets to stay home with his daughter and doesn't actually have a job right now, might be something you want to do, or at least learn how to manifest certain things like that. And yeah, I can tell you how to do that, and that's what I'm going to be telling everybody how to do. But I wanted to give a break in between because I needed it, not because it's stressful or anything like that, but because I had a lot of shit going on, and I wanted people to check out the things I've spoke about. And because of what I'm going to start talking about, I really got to make sure that I cover two more things. I'm going to give you all my manifestations in the order I manifested them, how I manifested them, and then every detail that I did, and my personal opinion on what I did and did not do that was right or wrong, what I think fucked shit up, what I think really worked well, what I changed going forward, how I did it, what I thought, what I wrote down. I'm going to give you everything, okay? But keep in mind, there's no way to prove this, I don't think, but I truly believe your witch power, your magical powers, whatever, is going to truly be identified, and it's going to come from your birth chart. What I mean by that is, depending on your placements, there's going to be things you may be really good at and things you might not be so good at. And magic might be one of those things that you're not so good at, which might be one of the reasons why we can't reach certain people. There's certain people that you can show all the proof in the world and they're never going to believe in it. And it's probably better off, because if they tried and believed in it, they might get depressed that everybody can do it and they can't, or something like that. I don't know. That's not fact. That's just my opinion. But like I said, I got certain placements that are really good. I got certain placements that are really fucking bad. Nothing's bad. It's just a lesson you have to learn, and it's kind of shitty when you're going through the lesson. But after the lesson, it gets great. Try to always remember that. That's one of the tips I use when I'm having a bad day. The shitty shit brings you the great shit. The things you want come from the things that you didn't want to do, or the things that you're not in the mood for, the things that piss you off, or you learn from all your bad things that happen to you in life. Every lesson, every shitty circumstance that you have is going to be a lesson, and the longer it takes you to learn a lesson, the more you're going to get that shitty circumstance. So that's why I remind myself of that, so I can learn it fast and get the fuck out of there, so it doesn't have to happen again. Um, but yeah, so before I get into the manifestations and all that, I just there's a couple more things I want to talk about. And one being, I've already covered polarity and circuits a little bit, but I didn't really say it like that. And there's one more angle I want to hit, and I'm going to try to hit that video out again today if possible, but tomorrow night. It should be up by Sunday, the last video before I get into the manifestations. I'm hoping I can do it today so I can start my manifestations, because I've written all that shit down. That shit's going to be easy, but trying to explain the things that you need to do or not do and how to go about doing them and how to fix yourself and self-transform is the hard part. Not saying that you can't get money without changing your mind. You certainly can, but if you don't change your mind, the money ain't going to last. You have to keep doing it, and I've already covered that. Eventually, I don't think the gods and goddesses are going to give it to you if you fucking just keep pissing it away or spending it on dope or prostitutes or TV shows or fucking bad food, whatever, whatever the case is. If you're not using it for the greater good or giving it back, or not saying you have to fucking go around shooting your money around. You can ask for money just to give it away. Not what I'm saying at all. I don't even. I offer service to people. I don't give people money, but whenever I do my offerings to gods and goddesses, I see what that god or goddess wants. If money's in there, then I'll do it. But if it's not, then I don't. I'll do something else. But I keep losing my train of thought. But what I want to talk about today is the subconscious mind. All right, the subconscious mind is so much more powerful than the conscious mind. It's the one we're born with. To me, the conscious mind is kind of it's your identity. It is useful. It has its uses, its purposes. Your conscious mind is developed, is grown, is created. It's kind of like the personality. It's kind of like the part of the ego, I guess. Well, the ego lives in there, I believe. But I was having a conversation yesterday. I tried to put this video out last night because the conversation happened yesterday. A buddy of mine who was going through hard times. He's like everybody else. Well, most people I know will get into this area, study into the occult. If they don't get stuck in everybody. I know I did anyways. I'll just speak about me. I started off by fear-based media and the truths, looking at flat earth and shit like that. And that slowly developed into the chemtrails, and that slowly developed into the Illuminati and the brainwashing and then the aliens and all this shit. And, I got into a pretty dark place for a while until I found a video from a New Age site, from all places, that, restored hope in the galaxy, at least mine anyways. I got pretty pumped up and pretty excited, and that's how I got into New Age. I didn't get stuck in the fear-based, lack, scarcity, doom and gloom crap. And so this friend of mine, though, he gets into spirituality. He likes Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon, and he meditates all the time, and he says he's getting good astral projection, which I don't know if he's doing that or just something else, our body or not, but it doesn't matter. Whatever he thinks he's doing. But he does tend to gravitate towards the doom and gloom shit often. He does tend to keep going back there because, let's face it, sometimes it's good to watch. It's fun to watch. I mean, sometimes I catch myself going to try to watch some of those videos, but I know it's not going to do me any good. Now, I'm not dissing anybody, any truthers, any of that, because I do believe there are a lot of issues, and they are getting these issues out and bringing awareness to them, so they are doing some job at that. But there's a lot of infiltration in that community by people that only want to bring fake information and make the magic, truth, New Age community sound crazy and discredit them. And that's one reason. And the other reason is to create fear. Is to give them more power. If there is a body of people out there, a group calling themselves the Illuminati, Well, every time you refer to the Illuminati or fear them, you are making whoever identifies as that fucking more powerful and having more power over you. The first thing you should do, stop watching that, stop calling them that, start saying that you don't think that there is one. Because if you don't think, maybe not you don't, but say that there isn't an Illuminati, because the more people that do that, they won't be able to exist. If no one believes in them, then they won't exist. If no one believes in Satan, right? If Satan doesn't exist, we get rid of every book with Satan in it. Not even just that, you can keep the books in there, it would just become a non-fiction book. But if everybody says no, Satan doesn't even exist, no, I know 100 people that came back from the dead and told me there's no hell, and these people are murderers and rapists. This is just hypothetical. But well, then Satan wouldn't exist. Same thing with anything else. If we don't want chemtrails, if we don't want the Illuminati, if we don't want martial law and fucking fluoride in our fucking water, and our kids to have all these fucked up little fucking traits and quirks and ADHDs and autism and ADDs and fucking worried about the vaccines causing this shit. We don't want that. We gotta stop thinking about it. We gotta stop putting energy into that. If, you can ignore it to a certain extent, but ignoring problems doesn't really work. You gotta focus on a world without those issues. If you focus on a world without those issues, if you say, no, I'm not saying that. If you say, there's no fluoride in my water over and over, and you're not going to be affected, but there is power in blessing your food and blessing your water. If you can't do anything else, you should be at least doing that before you eat and drink. If you can't afford better food, then yeah, you should totally be doing that. What you focus on, you create, you bring, you give more energy to, What you resist also persists. If you're resisting the change and you don't like money and this and that, well, then you're going to keep getting that. But anyways, back to what I want to talk about. So now my buddy, him and his wife are going through this tough time, but they're into this stuff, but they didn't really know what to do next. So she starts asking me about money, the whole birth certificate thing, and promissory notes, which I did a lot of study on because I did want to start paying stuff off with my own credit and all that. And so I just tell her the basics that I know, that at least here in Canada, once you stop being a person, entity, a corporation, you can start making promissory notes and paying things off like bank or government. But you can't pay another human like that because they're just like you, and they would have to do that same process for that to mean anything. But the bank and the government are the ones using these things against us, so you can use it against them. They've got us. They're not really tricking us because we signed off on it, but they're not telling us the info to know about it. So it's just, well, people don't know, so they can't do anything about it, basically. When you ask about it, they can't. I told her I don't know how the process goes, but you do have to go to the courthouse to fill out some documents to change that around, so that your birth certificate doesn't kind of mean that you're stillborn and they have access to all your money. This way you're saying, no, I'm a person, I'm not a fucking corporation, I'm not a corpse. And I'm going to start paying the bank for my house and my car and the government that I owe. I'm going to pay it all off with this right now and be a free person. But I didn't know the form and all that. So, and she asked me, well, if I knew all this, how come I haven't done it? And I told her, well, I'm fucking married and I got cars and I got kids. I mean, I don't know all about this stuff, and it takes a lot of research. Just because some people say they do it or have done it doesn't mean you're going to get through it. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Fucking with the law is like a minefield. One person might get by, another person might get blown to shit. You really got to fucking watch what you do. And so she's like, well, then what do you do? How do you do it? Well, I'm not telling you not to do that, Josie. You should do research in this, but it's going to take a while, and you got to make it right because you don't want to fuck anything up. But that's why I got into magic, because I couldn't do that. I mean, one of the reasons, not the only reason, but because I couldn't, how am I supposed to tell my wife I want a divorce so I can be with her but pay off her bills with my birth certificate? She could look at me like a fucking retard or fucking crazy. Sorry, retard's not a right word. I love those people. But no, she look at me like I'm insane, right? She already kind of looks at me a little crazy that I'm into this stuff. But she loves me enough to accept me and what I believe in, all that. And she, anyways, so I tell her that, and she's like, well, what's that? So I tell her, well, sigil magic's pretty easy. Go look up Grant Morrison on YouTube. He's got a video where he's on stage talking to people. He actually starts off by screaming. It's pretty sick. It's a really good video. You should really check it out. I think it's like a disinfo conference, and he tells everybody how to use sigil magic, minus the masturbation part. But any of his other videos, we'll talk about that. And then I start telling her how it works and all that. And because she was worried about her daughter and saying her daughter sometimes just turns and she's all happy, lovey, giving her kisses, and then she'll turn around and slap her or hit her. And she's got this mean look on her face and all that, and thinking that entities and all that could be in her. So I said, well, I mean, if you are in fear, if you're scared of something and you're dwelling on the thoughts of that, well, all you're doing is taking something that hasn't happened yet. You're creating that thought form, and you're putting emotion in it. You basically bring it to life, and that could be in the house. She could be picking it up. But I'm like, more likely is your daughter right now. Her daughter's 2, just like mine. I'm like, your daughter is just subconscious mind right now. That's it. That's all. We start getting memories at 3 or 4 years old, and that's because that's when we start developing our conscious mind. When we understand language. The conscious mind can't. I don't think could. Now, this is my opinion once again, but I don't think the conscious mind could exist, I don't think it can exist unless you know a language, basically. Kind of why people that, can't speak or whatever, if they can't comprehend the language, they never really talk or whatever. But anyways, she's just subconscious mind. So whatever you teach her through repetition, she'll learn. But you can't use words. Subconscious mind doesn't use words. And I'm like, that's exactly how everyone's subconscious mind is. It doesn't use words. It uses symbolism. Hence why the sigil magic works, because you're taking the words from your conscious mind, you're turning it into a symbol, and you're throwing it into your subconscious mind. Asking, hey, can you do this? And it will understand it. Because your conscious mind knows what it made, and the subconscious mind is around, it's in the background, but it's going to know what that symbol means. It knows all. How can it not? That's why we know the big M arches is McDonald's. Everybody thinks, well, no, it's because you know. No. My baby doesn't know what McDonald's is, yet we go by there and she gets happy as shit. But anyways, that's a little bit how the subconscious mind works. And I could see it click. I was pretty, and she asked me question after question after question like that. And I told her, I'm like, you and Justin fight, right? And you get mad, and she's the kind of woman that'll hit him. Not hard, not in the face or anything like that, but she'll fucking punch him, come at him, and push him whenever she's really mad and gets worked up. And Justin's like, yeah, this is like I try to tell her, but that's the exact face she's making whenever the baby it makes whenever she looks just like Josie. And she sees Daddy doing that, or she sees Mommy doing that to Daddy, and she's doing it back to Mommy. And I said, yeah. I'm like, that's how it works. My wife does the same thing. She'll be playing with my daughter early on during the day, playing a game, pretend hit or push or kick and laughing along, or she'll come in the kitchen and the baby will hit me or whatever, and she'll laugh and get daddy, and it's all fun and games. And later that night, right before bedtime, where she's just trying to relax on her phone, my baby will come up to her and give her a smack, and then my wife will lose it on her. Like, what are you doing? That's not nice. And it's like, well, you just shown her that it was fun, and now you're telling her it's not nice. You're going to confuse her. She doesn't understand not. She doesn't understand don't. She doesn't understand those words. She understands what she sees. That's it. You can't even, eventually they start learning words after because they heard it so often, and for some reason they like that word, so they try to learn it. But the words you hear the most are the first words they're going to know, but that's just through repetition, which is why affirmations work. But magic is putting symbolism into your subconscious mind, specific symbolism that you want in there to either get rid of something or attract something. I'm telling her, and even my buddy who's the friend, I'm friends with both, but the guy's the one I worked with. He got fired right after I got fired from my job, or let go, and he didn't get a severance. I was the last fucking person to get a severance, which makes my magic even more special when I get into that story. But anyways, we'll get into that in a few more episodes. But so when I related that to her, you saw it click, 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 because she was like, well, how do I teach her? How do I teach her that? And I'm like, that's a good question. How do you show a kid with symbolism or with your gestures how not to hit? I'm like, there's no answer for that. You can't show somebody how not to do something. And that's also how the subconscious mind works, which is something that Birch talks about and is very important. The subconscious mind does not understand negative speak, negative grammar, negative words. And I don't mean like negative as negativity. I mean like yes is a positive and no is a negative, right? Do is positive, don't is a negative, okay? Accept, deny, right? So I banish that thought, I deny that thought, I reject that thought. We're talking to our conscious mind there. We use those thoughts before someone says, well, you said to do this. And first of all, I didn't say that. That's a trick from a book and from Mind and Magic. But that's why that works. You're telling your conscious mind not to accept that. Now, that could be coming from the subconscious mind. Spirits could only live in your subconscious mind, which is why some people tap into the feelings around them in their house. People see stuff because they're more connected to that mind, and some people don't. And some people think those people are crazy, and other people relate. And there's everybody in the middle, like me. I don't fucking see spirits, but I do see some things from time to time, depending on, a bunch of things. But anyways, no negative speak. If you make a statement of intent, whether it's for a sigil, whether it's for a spell, whatever. If you make a statement of intent that says, I don't want any more debt, well then all that's going to turn into is, I want any more debt. It's not really going to make sense, and then you're going to take all the vowels out of that and all the extra consonants, and you're going to say, well, the D and the T and don't aren't in there anymore, so it doesn't really matter, or the N. I'm like, yeah, but those letters in the other words. But you're basically asking for any and more debt. I want any and more debt, right? That's what you just said, because the don't doesn't matter, because it doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand that. I can't tell you why it doesn't understand it, because I don't know. But I can only speculate, and it's I like relating it to a child. A child is like your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is a child. Back to the Bible for a second. The Bible says that you can't, everybody has to become a kid again to enter the kingdom of heaven, or something to that effect. Well, yeah, you have to believe in fucking Santa Claus again. Mind and Magic speaks about this. You have to believe in magic, because it is real. And it doesn't matter now. I know I said before what you believe in is going to happen to you. And so people will say, well, I don't believe in magic, so I won't. And once again, subconscious mind doesn't understand negatives. Okay? So whereas your belief is empowering, and your belief will create things to happen. So if you believe in something negative, that can happen. But if you don't believe in something positive, or you don't believe in something that is, quote unquote, something perceived as harmful or negative, it doesn't matter. It can still happen. You cannot believe that magic works, but I can fucking curse you. I mean, I wouldn't, and I don't even know if I could, but I haven't ever tried. I'm sure as hell probably. Well, actually, I'm not going to say that. But anyways, if you don't believe in magic, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you believe and don't believe. Everybody's doing it, and everybody's creating these things, and this is how you take control of your life. But anyways. My subconscious mind, it's like a child. It doesn't understand the negatives, all right? And this correlates with everything. Like I said, the no negative thing, it doesn't matter what you believe is going to help you. If you believe in God, your magic is going to work great. Now, God is not what I would call the creator of all. There are lots of gods and goddesses. But point is, if you're an atheist, you're going to have a harder time with this, because, what are you going to think is bringing you this stuff? Just the universe? Well, the universe is a being, or it's a computer program, or it's software that magic was what we're hacking, or this is the correct way to pray. But no matter what you do, the no negative things, because like the Wiccan read is do what y'all will, or I don't know. I know it's like a harm none thing in there, right? And that was part of making witches not so scary whenever Wicca came around. Birch talks about this a lot, how he doesn't agree with it, but he knows it was necessary at the time to get good publicity to witches, so that now we can do this. Because if witches never got good publicity, then none of this would be allowed. We'd have to either be on the dark web or meeting in fucking secret still. But that PR campaign came out. Wicca is a religion in the States. I want to say it's in Canada too, but I don't know. I really don't. and that's something I should have looked up a long time ago. But anyways, but in there their statement always harm none, so mote it be kind of thing. And he goes into this, and this is where I got the information and then looked it up and found all the psychological parts of it, and I'm adding it to what he told me. But yeah, you're basically wishing harm on people if you say that. If you say, I will thee $1,000, please, harm none, so mote it be. Well, you're asking for that money, and you're asking for harm, and asking for it to be done. So basically, you might lose a family member and get an inheritance. Is that how you want your money? Because that's not how I want any money. That's where binding down the action not wanting comes in, and I'll get into that when I get into the manifestation stuff. But it's basically, you want whatever you want, and you're being specific so you don't create bullshit circumstances, bad circumstances, death, pain, anything bad to happen to anybody. So that harm none thing is a good example of that. So if you make a statement of intent for a sigil or for a spell, do not use negative words. It makes it a little tougher, but not impossible. I know, for my, I like making things rhyme. And so I'll be like, I will be harm free to all, including me, so mote it be. You know what I mean? That's my last 4 lines. It's like a little rhyme. And maybe there's something wrong with that, and there could be. And hopefully, if there is, someone emails me or sends me a message, telling me, hey, there is something wrong with that. You shouldn't say this. And I'm like, sick, thank you. But it's worked so far. And rhyming is, Birch talks about that too, the power of rhymes and shit in your spells. So yeah, the no negative thing is something to remember for the subconscious mind. And if you have small children who don't talk yet, you know what I mean, from 0 to 4, remember that when you're teaching them. You can say, don't hit, or no hitting and shit like that, but that ain't going to get through. I mean, my daughter just instantly cries. And this reminds me of the next thing. The next thing is reverse psychology, right? Reverse psychology is when you tell someone not to do something and they do it. Why is that? Why is it if you make a statement of intent saying harm none or don't harm, that it's going to create harm? Why is that? Well, you tell me. I'm pretty sure I just explained that. Did I not? Does that not make sense? Sorry, I'm not trying to sound like a prick or cocky. I just get worked up as I get going. But seriously, they say the fastest way to get a child to do something is to tell them not to do it. Why is that? My wife will say, don't hit, and my daughter will hit her right after she says it. Like, babe, what the fuck? Don't hit, and she'll keep hitting her. Just keep hitting her. Bang, 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 bang. Speak of the devil, she's waking up there. I don't know if you can hear her in the background or not, but it's the fastest way to get a child to do something. And it all comes back to the same thing, the no negative shit. And it does take a little bit of practice and tries, but once you figure out the right way to say things, it's not too hard. It's not too hard at all. And it can totally be done. But you have to do it. You have to figure it out, and you have to take the time to do it. But yeah, so reverse psychology is another example. Like I said, I can't tell you why this stuff doesn't work. I can't tell you why. So yeah, the reverse psychology. Remember that, and it's another proof, another reason not to use the negative speak, and how the subconscious mind works. So we talked about affirmations, the repetition, getting in your subconscious mind, and how that works a little bit. I don't really want to talk about how affirmations work. Well, a little bit, but I want to just, sorry, I'm having trouble trying to put it to words, and this is kind of how channeling can be sometimes. It comes to you so fast, and you got to try to interpret it right. You can't really see or know what the process is, how it's happening, but you know that's what's happening when your words are jumbling. Just trying to get it out or trying to get too much out all at the same time, which is why I try not to record on a Wednesday, Mercury day, because, anyways. So, an affirmation, all right? Let's think about it a police officer, military guy in movies, right? When they're talking on the talkie-talkies, whether it's a spy thing, whatever. Do you see the target? Negative. I don't see the target. Oh, I have the target in my sights. You see the target? Yeah. Affirmative. You know what I mean? Affirm is positive. Negative, obviously, is negative, right? Affirmation. It says right in the word. And your affirmation shouldn't have any negatives in it. And, just to maybe get into something, your negative mind is the female mind, is the left side of the brain, right? Left hand is the negative side, right? It pulls in, whereas your right hand is projective, plus and minus. So your conscious mind is a plus, and your subconscious mind is the negative. So you want to put pluses into that negative. If you know anything about the Kabbalion, the law of gender, right? The law of gender says you need both masculine and feminine to make anything. You need plus and minus to make anything, right? The air and the fire are the positives, and the water and the earth are the negatives, right? You take the air, which is your thought. You take the fire, which is your action, The air and thought are kind of like a conscious mind, and you're doing your ritual in the conscious state. And then you use your emotion, which is a negative part of your body, like the aspects, all that, and then it creates the earth. All right, that's not a great example, and it's kind of shitty put together, but I think you know what I'm driving at here. So affirmations have to be positive. You don't want a negative sense in there. You're like, I don't have any more debt, and I am rich. You'll get the I am debt and I am rich, and it might just cancel itself. I'm getting nothing. You don't want to have an affirmation that's got negatives. So that thing I told you to record, make sure you check it out, whatever you recorded that you listen to every night, and make sure there is no negatives in there, okay? If you have to, banish and then invoke. You can say banish, you can say deny, I want to say, and you can say reject. I think the subconscious mind actually does accept those words. Yes, they're negatives, but they're actions. There's verbs, don't, not, none. Those aren't verbs. They're not actions. They're not the fire. You know what I mean? We're talking about fire here being the action. I banish poverty, and I invoke prosperity, wealth, finance. I always put financial in front of there just so, because prosperity could be, wealth could be children. Children are the wealth of God. But anyways, make sure that's kind of binding down the action. I don't want it a little bit. If you already have 4 kids, you don't need to fucking say, God, you want more kids? Okay, I'll give you more kids. And you might think everybody thinks wealth is money, but to a Cancer, family is the most important. So to a Cancer like my mom, family is a hell of a lot more important than money, and she'd probably want more grandkids. If she was to do magic, then yeah, I'd probably end up having another kid. But that's besides the point. That's a good example of binding down action not wanted, but not actually stating something. Financial wealth, financial prosperity, financial abundance, monetary, money. Be specific. But you don't also want to limit yourself. If you say I want $1,000 in my bank account, which is great, whatever, but you're limiting yourself to just that, not getting a check in the mail, not finding money, so on and so forth. But anyway, so the affirmations have to be a positive thing. And the last thing I guess I'll talk about before I go, I'm guessing you noticed by now it's almost going on 45 minutes. I bought the next package up just so these next 2 episodes could be long enough that I don't have to do 3 or 4 and keep you guys on the hook for how to manifest. But anyways, the English language, okay? The English language that we use now was created, and it's a fairly new language. So if you do sigils, it is a good idea to find an old language, a dead language. Bert talks about this. Ruins, Hebrew, fucking Sumerian, whatever. Norse, I don't know what their language is, but it's a different alphabet. Our alphabet recently letters J, W, and what was it? V? J, W, sorry guys. J, W, and V were recently added, which kind of makes you think about Jesus, right? If the J didn't even exist in the 16 and the 1500s, then why is everybody think Jesus' name is Jesus? I mean, J was only added then. Jesus was alive way back when. Yeah, it was actually spelled I-E-S-U-S. The I made the J sound. Even in King James's Bible, his name is written with a fucking I. But anyways, besides the point. But that's just quickly another reason why the English language is not really understood by your conscious mind. Affirmations work because after a while, saying the same thing, it will get in there. It's because you're creating it into a habit, which is how our mind is programmed against us. So if you want to get your mind on your side, you can use affirmations. I really suggest doing that at night with a recorder, and then using magic to put it in there. But using the English language will work if you turn that language into a symbol, or if you say it enough times. So if you're wondering why your spell's not working, it can and will work. But you need to really tie it in with a symbol, with a candle, with an incense, with a fucking doll, with a mojo bag, whatever you're trying to do. If you just say a spell in your ritual space, it can work depending on your placements. It may work great and it may not work. I'm just giving you examples of how the subconscious mind works and what the subconscious mind doesn't accept. I'm sure I got a lot more, but turning your statement of intent to a sigil is a great idea. Using an older language is a great idea. It's a no negative thing, helpful with children and magic alike. But anyways, I'm going to cut this off here. It was great talking to everybody, and I will not take so long in between. I will set a date where I'm going to be on all the time so you can catch me live going forward. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy. Have a good day. Oh shit, just before I actually finish it up, I just want to say that about the alphabet, that's why the first of alphabets actually were symbols and not letters. It works a hell of a lot better with your mind. And there was a couple more things I want to add to that, but I forgot it. But anyways, once again, have a great day, guys.